Hey guys, it's Summer Rayne from Homestead, Brooklyn, and today we're going to learn something very easy to do, creating faux drainage for succulents or really any kind of plant for that matter. Oftentimes you'll see that succulent containers or things that you could be potentially succulent containers don't have holes in the bottom. Now I'm a big believer that most plants, especially if you're just starting out, should have some drainage in the bottom like these terracotta pots, because if you ever overwater a plant, at least the water will come through the bottom into the saucer below. However, sometimes if you're like me, if you find a really cool coffee mug or a planter, which I actually just picked up, this beautiful ceramic planter at Junk Brooklyn, so just like, you know, some vintage shops around here, or even in a glass container, you oftentimes wouldn't get a hole in the bottom. I, for one, have tea and coffee canisters that I use in order to plant succulents, and I really love the way that they look. But people always ask me, well, do you drill holes on the bottom? And to answer that question, I don't. You can. If you have something like a tea container, you could definitely drill a hole in the bottom and create a saucer underneath. But what we're going to accomplish today is actually just creating some of that faux drainage within a vessel that doesn't have any hole in the bottom. So I'm going to use this glass container just for the purposes of seeing how much rocks and charcoal and soil that I'm going to be putting into this. So if we just take this mason jar, and you'll see I have some mason jars behind me with some plants that are growing in the back. And what you'll basically need are some drainage stones. So these are some grow stones, so they actually don't weigh a ton. They're just made out of recycled glass. You're going to want horticultural charcoal, and you're going to want, especially because we have some succulents, you're going to want to have succulent soil. So this is a nice airy, light soil that provides for very good drainage. Because I'm working with a smaller vessel, I'm probably just going to use a spoon as opposed to any type of shovel. But what we're going to do is just drop some of those grow stones in. And so what these stones will operate as is that drainage. So if you overwater it, you'll actually be able to see the water, at least in this glass. I'm just going to put about an inch and a half, maybe even 2 inches. And then you're just going to take a small bit of charcoal. Now, what the charcoal does is it not only adds for drainage, but it also helps prevent any kind of bacterial buildup. So if you ever have any kind of water filters, if you're hiking, oftentimes there'll be charcoal in the water filter and you're just like, ew, yuck, charcoal. But actually that helps prevent any kind of bacterial buildup. So I'm just going to put in a bunch of this charcoal, and you're going to do a thinner layer of charcoal than you are the stones. And again, this acts both as a way for the water to drain, but also prevents any kind of bacterial buildup that could happen if you have a lot of water in the system. Which, if you have succulents, more or less you're watering a decent watering every week, and then in the winter months you could probably do it every couple weeks. Then you're going to add some of the soil to this layer on the top. And the soil is what is going to protect the roots of the plant that you're going to plant in there. And you're going to want to create a little divot within that soil as well, because that's where the plant is going to go. I'm going to take this Kalanchoe here. This is a really nice Kalanchoe I got the other day at the farmer's market. And if it's rooty at the bottom, you could tease the roots out, but this one is not. And I'm just going to place it in there. Now this soil is a little hard, so what I'm going to do is tease out the soil from around the root ball, being careful because succulents, including cacti, oftentimes have pretty gentle root structures, so you want to be careful with that. And then I'm going to take the spoon and just make sure that the succulent is being secured around the base of this. Now this Kalanchoe has some fuzzy leaves as well, so I'm going to make sure that I'm not putting the soil directly on the leaf because it'll be hard to get off. And there you go. And just damp that in with my finger. And then if you want, and I like to do this, but you could actually take some sand and put it on top as well, so it looks quite nice. But there you go, you have your kalanchoe and you're creating your faux drainage. So when you actually water this, you'll be able to see the water go down because I'm planting obviously in a clear glass container, but if you're not going to be able to see the water go down. But when you do, you'll see that if you water a little bit too much. But just be mindful, particularly when you have succulents, they don't need a tremendous amount of water. And cacti in particular really go dormant through November through March, so you could even halt most of the watering that you would do during that dormancy season. So hopefully that was helpful in creating some faux drainage for any of your plants, particularly if you're planting in a cache pot, which is a decorative pot, or that doesn't have a hole. And remember, you could do it in tea containers, coffee cups, little bowls, and even some decorative ceramic vases. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to Homestead Brooklyn. You could just click the like button below and tune in every Thursday to homesteadbrooklyn.com and here on YouTube. Take care. Bye.